goal, Quishbilly Huddersfield Town! The most famous goal of Quishbilly's life.
Is this the moment for Lee Fowler? It is. Take your place in Division 2, Huddersfield Town.
Thank you.
And Steve Simonson's boots now. He's missed. Steve Simonson clears the frame of the goal and collapses in a heap of tears. Huddersfield Town are promoted.
Mustafa Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
Right, welcome to episode 164 of the Andy Takes That Chance podcast, sponsored by the best brewmakers in the game, Magic Rock Brewing, whereby, just on account of knowing us shithouses, you can get 10% off using the code AHTTC10. And with myself today, Matt Shaw, I have the bear with a sore head, it's Richard Kosmala, and an animal of undetermined variety, but of similar anger, it's Jonny Gillespie. You okay, boys?
Good, John. Good, Matt. You're Matt. You're Jonny. Yeah.
I am. Yeah.
I'm as confused as our forward line.
Put the beers down. Right, let's get into this, and I'll start. So, right, so Land of My Fathers and Kenny Miller have gone. I'm receiving messages on Friday saying, "Oh, the players are bouncing in training. They're really happy." I listened to Chicho's press conference. That's Chicho, Kosi, and thought, what a smashing guy this is. Great eyebrows, by the way, but what a smashing guy. I'd love to play for him if I were a footballer. He talked continuously about being brave and brave in attack in particular. And then what followed was quite the opposite, apart from Joseph Hungbo in the first half hour. That wasn't brave. It was as cowardly a performance as I've seen from a bunch of players since Port Vale in 2003. Not a single one of them stepped up to the plate, put the head above the parapet to drive the team forward. Plenty of senior pros just happy to knock it backwards, wave their arms in an exasperated manner and just blame the younger lads when they're doing absolutely fuck all themselves. It was an absolutely disgraceful performance when you consider what was at stake and the poor caliber of opposition as well. Okay, we get no luck. We get 2 injuries, one of them a really bad one to Ollie Turton, and I'm sure everyone wishes Ollie Turton all the best with what he got. And 2 penalty decisions that got turned down, which with another referee, you might get one, you might not, but you've still got to play the game. What we saw was a completely insipid, gutless and spineless performance by a bunch of players that, as it stands, I have absolutely no wish whatsoever to see again this season or next. The senior pros in particular really need to take a look in the mirror and question what they're about, because they've got the ability. They are not a bottom 3 team as far as I'm concerned, but they're playing like it with an absolutely diabolical and negligent care for this football club. And I've just had enough of the lot of them. And that's all I really want to say on the game. So I'll toss it over to you two, because I'm sick of talking about this lot.
You don't mind, though. Wigan were superb, weren't they, for the first hour? The outstanding team. And, Jesus Christ. You don't think
I've got that off my chest now, Kosi. It's your turn. You can go now. I can smile again now. I've said what I needed to say. Off you go.
Yeah, Wigan were amazing. It was quite funny today, actually, doing some research for this, because it tells you the average age of both teams. And to be honest, I didn't know if it said 68 or 28, because some of the football were absolutely, well, most of the football were just so bad. And yeah, it just seemed to have a 0-0 written all over it. But you just know in the back of your mind, just the week we've had and the season we've had, that we're going to try and lose it somehow. And Big Jack Watmore steaming in over the newly recalled for some reason. I know you're giving Chico a good write up there, Matt, but why the hell is bringing in Josh Ruffles, who were horrendous at commentary? Probably one of the only few things Rotherham got right, kind of dropping in. But yeah, horrendous. It's incredible. I think we took over 2,000 fans there yesterday, Matt, and
deserved a lot better. They deserved a lot better than that.
I think that's the worrying thing, for the enormity of the game. Just from the start, he was horrendous. And I just wondered how much damage Tuesday night did with morale. I mean, Jonathan Ogg did a big interview, didn't he? I think he was I'm right in saying he was the post player for the pre-match press conference. And yeah, we're kind of no excuses. We've got to keep going, etc. But it looked like we'd stopped, to be honest. And it was just, it just got worse and worse and worse as kind of the game went on as well. And what a mess! The commentator just were embarrassed to be commentating really on that as well. When a game was so bad, and yeah, I think the worst thing for me, Matt, I don't know if we just run out of steam. It seemed to coincide with Knockett disappearing, although I agree with what you said on our internal communications channel last night. He kind of ran out. He didn't look. You were tired, weren't you? Run out of juice, and yeah, obviously stuck in the back of your mind. But I just thought we got to try and win this game, and then Wigan kind of got a foothold. I don't know how they did because they were horrendous. But you thought there's no way we can go like a full 90 minutes being as bad as that. But they gradually kind of won space, and we did as usual retreating job as well. But even then, they didn't look like scoring the goal, to be honest, Matt. And then, yeah, just the corner and people just
it
not
was a
doing
shit
their job.
set piece, just a shit set piece as well, wasn't it? Just to the far post, and Ruffles, he's not even tight with him. He just jumps underneath the ball. He doesn't get a nudge or anything. And to be fair, he's replaced Lowton, who's missed 4 headers which have contributed to goals in the last 4 games prior. But it's just slackness, isn't it? Switching off, and it just feels like these players have got absolutely no bollocks whatsoever when it comes down to sort of the hard part of the game. And I don't like saying that because I want to support them. I want to get behind them. But when they play like that in such a massive game, this week had such implications for the rest of the season, Blackpool and Wigan. We needed 4 points. We've got 1. And we should have had 4 from it, at least. And it's just so disappointing. And people are saying, oh, it's all right, there's 16 games left. Look at the way these players are playing. Look at the guts that they're showing. Look at the decisions they're making. This is a team this is a relegation team. And they shouldn't be a relegation team, in my opinion. They're much better. Well, they're better than this. I won't say they're much better, but they are a better outfit than this. And to see them play like that in such a careless manner just angered me on the day. I had to take myself off after the game and go sort of sit in a quiet space by myself because I was absolutely raging at what I saw.
See,
You can't recall one attempt at goal or one moment where somebody's actually gone, I'm going to try something here and do something. Everyone shirked that as far as I'm concerned.
Well, with that Knockett shot in the first half, well, it was a little bit wide, wasn't it, on that as well? But I just...
Never going in.
No. This is where I'm kind of seem to be on my own here with stuff, Matt, and because I think, I don't doubt that, Fotheringham probably had to go after Tuesday night, but I keep hearing people telling me we've got the players. These players shouldn't be, in the bottom 3. These players should be doing better. It's bullshit at the moment.
I don't think it is.
No, I'm not having it, Matt. I'm not having it, Matt.
Well, come on. You've got, if you look at the course of the season, look at the season. You've got Lee Nichols, the best goalkeeper in the league. You've got Tom Lees, Matty Pearson, Ollie Turton, backbone of a defence that got 3rd last year in the league. You've got, Jonathan Hogg's dropping off a bit. You've got
no left side, and we haven't had a left side for the full season. So you're playing.
No, but there's enough. There's a core there that shouldn't be in the bottom 3 or shouldn't have been in the bottom 3 all season.
They're not defensive players you're mentioning, Matt. Where's your?
That's what we were last season, and so we've Fotheringham's fallen out with Sorba Thomas, and all of a sudden the only guy who can create anything's been shipped out because the guy's fallen out with him.
I do agree. I can see Kosi's view in the fact that if you look at performances for a while, it's been shocking. And how can you say? I mean, you said like performance temperature class is permanent, and where's the class over those games? You can point to so many games over the last 10 that it's been really poor. But I think like I do see Matt's point, and it's kind of my viewpoint to a certain extent that I think there's been a significant drop off, but these players at a different club, a bit like Pritchard, do you know what I mean? In a different environment, should and can play better. I don't think the way these players are playing at the moment is at their peak. I don't think that's the best they can do. Why that is the case, do you know what I mean? There's a whole host of reasons. I think given what they achieved last year, which was massively overachieving, I don't think it's fair to say because we finished 3rd that they should be up there. I think some players, some pros would point to that season as probably one of their best, probably the best form they've produced consistently. But I equally think, like I say, there's still enough quality in that team if they're going to do 70-80% of what they were able to, given if you say last season was 100, to not be where they are. And is that a lack of effort? Is that a lack of coaching? Is that just the pressure situation that they're in now and not being able to cope with it? Like the switching off? I don't know. and that's the kind of the question I guess we'll probably never know the answer to. But I think that's where I come down the line. That I know it is a bit of a debate. We see this team, and it's been debated all season. This team shouldn't be here. It's good enough. And then questioning, is it good enough? Is it actually, because there are weaknesses, and we've had injuries that have hit us. We've not had a full strength team available all season either, which has hurt. But I think,
guys,
Johnny,
Johnny, can I ask you sort of, Matt, if we go down and say we win 3 more games, are you going to tell me in May that this team should have stayed up?
Well, no, they'll deserve to go down. If you finish bottom 3, you deserve to go down. That's how the table works, isn't it?
So you're saying at the moment we still should be doing better after 28 games. Is that
these players are capable
to flip it round? Yeah, to flip it round. I wouldn't have said we had the 3rd best team last season, and that's the kind of the equal of it too, in a way. Yeah. I don't think we've got the 2nd worst in the league now. Do you know what I mean? On paper or on ability or potential ability. Equally, I don't think we had the 3rd best team on paper and potential ability last season. And I think last season we excelled.
It's all mental,
we overachieved. Yeah, and this season we've grossly underachieved. But we have got the bottom 3. Johnny, a bottom 3rd wage budget. We don't pay players enough to be where I think this team's probably 18th, 17th. I'm not saying it's 8th, 9th, 10th, but I think it's got enough in it. If someone could get it out of them, or they wanted to get out of themselves, either or, like say, not saying it's one way or the other, to finish 21st. I don't think if you ran this season year on year, a bit like Groundhog Day, we'd finish in the bottom 3 every single season. I don't think that.
How are we not detached, Johnny? It's incredible. And I think this is the thing where I don't know if you can seek solace in this. Well, you've got to seek solace in the table, because it's incredibly still there for us. It's hard to believe. I cannot remember a season, and we've had some bad teams. Well, that may be a lie. I remember that Malcolm McDonald season. You weren't even being born then, John. That was horrendous when we went down, and obviously the other season when we went down. But we've had 6 months of football. I can't remember one good game. One game. No. Obviously, we've won. You know, where we were like we were really good.
I haven't enjoyed one game this season. I'll be honest. I haven't enjoyed one game this season. It's been absolutely shite from start to finish. And I think that's I'll be glad when this is finished.
I think that's the thing, Matt. It's like, because I like to be trying positive, and I really back following more than most, to be honest with you. And I want to see, there's still 60 games to go, or 17 games or whatever is left and stuff like that as well. But like I was saying, Matt Glennon last night when I lost my rag on the rail, it's like, there's absolutely zero evidence that, and I know what he was saying. Because he was saying, I think his one relegation fight he was in a team, something just changed. It come off someone's bum or whatever, and it goes in. And then you go on, I just can't see us doing it. The fixtures we've got left, the heart of the club this week were just absolutely huge. I mean, we won't probably discuss Blackpool much because it's been and gone, but it's incredible to not once but twice against like 10 men, just like to give it away like we did. And
that's what I mean. It's mental for me. It's a mental thing. It's a mentality thing. And these players, and this is why getting rid of Fotheringham doesn't really solve the problem, because I don't think I thought Chicho spoke brilliantly before the game, and it was quite heartwarming almost. And then as soon as they kicked off, within 10 minutes, you realise that people that have already been there can't change this. This is a completely, a mental thing completely, whereby these players are either really struggling for confidence, they're either sulking, or there's all sorts of things going on. But I've seen Matty Pearson. Matty Pearson was fine actually yesterday. I've seen Tom Lees. Tom Lees was diabolical yesterday. It's been really poor. Well, I won't say diabolical, but he's been poor last few games. We saw an incredibly good centre back last season. We saw one that did very well for Sheffield Wednesday as well, but we've also seen the one that did really poorly for Sheffield Wednesday. So he has the potential to go up and down, but he can play better. Josh Ruffles probably not, but Ollie Turton is a loss, because he looked like he was going to help solidify that side. We've seen Matt Loughton play better, haven't we? Not for us, but not so long since either. That we've seen Hogg play much better. Hogg, I think, has been poor since the World Cup break. We've seen these players play better,
Matt,
and this is it for me. We just can't get a good 20 minutes out of them. Never mind 90.
Matt, we needed a goal yesterday. We badly needed to win that game. Why Josh Cromer, right? And I get you might say, well, look what happened Tuesday's tracking. I'm not bothered about tracking back, and I know it's maybe a stupid thing to say because it's part of the game. This guy produced some absolute magic on Tuesday night We were desperate for a goal. We had zilch going forward, and he didn't even come on. He don't even come on.
No, it
Why?
made no sense today.
Why?
It made no. Yeah, I mean, he's throwing Headley on. Headley.
He's done it in 6 months.
Yeah, he threw Jaheim Headley on, didn't he? And Headley didn't really have enough time to even do anything, did he? And
it's like Karuma's celebration to choose him out again. I don't like playing amateur psychologist, but we will because we're a podcast. But his celebration, it wasn't like sometimes you saw Canton out like as if to, look at it. Well, I don't know whether a guy.
It was a kind of more of a thank fuck for that kind of thing, wasn't it?
You think so, rather than what the fuck am I doing here kind of thing and that.
No, it was thank God for that. It seemed to be like thank God for that.
So I read it a little bit like you, Kosi, but then he gave a post match, didn't he? And to fair, he spoke really well in his post match, and he said he was just happy to kind of score for the fans and stuff. But it was a little bit of a like, do you know what I mean? A little bit. Either it was a quality goal, so it was a bit like, yeah, look at that, but not in an antagonistic way. But I was a little bit, I don't know if that's a little bit towards Town fans. But to be fair, he spoke really well in his post match. So I think it was like I say, it was just a bit. That's a bit surprising, isn't it?
I'll tell you what, I was a bit disappointed with Jonny, but I can kind of maybe get it. But I think it just shows the fear running through kind of the club, even from Chicho. But I really want to see Jaheim Headley get a start. I really want to see Jaheim Headley get a start yesterday. And I know they won over, but I just think go forward. I'm just thinking we've got to go and try and win this game. And this guy's got energy and. That little amazing run on Tuesday was brilliant. We're like, come on, keep going, lad. And I just thought
about bravery, like he said, brave, didn't he? He said Chicho said be brave, and that wasn't really a brave.
Karoma would have, were kind of brave and stuff, but I mean, I expected more changes. To be fair, it might be shuffling the deck chairs on the old Titanic, but I was quite surprised with the team selection at 2 o'clock. But like I say, Matt, it's bigger than Chicho. It's maybe bigger than anyone. It's just a mental thing. I don't think we give ourselves the best opportunity to get the 3 points, really.
No, I think you're right. I'll make you right on that one. It's the team. When I saw the team, I was like, oh, great, Kamara's back in. And then I was like, oh, Ruffles is back in. So it was kind of like the Lord giveth, the Chicho giveth and taketh away, didn't he, at the same time? But but I understand why he's probably picked him, because he's wanting to pick, your most experienced left-sided defender. But that's last 2 games he's been culpable massively for a goal, and maybe maybe Jaheim Headley's fearless, and maybe he'll maybe he's not the best defensively as we saw against Blackpool, but he drives you up the field, doesn't he, with his relentless running and his energy, and that gives you something different.
Win games.
Ben Jackson's the same. He can give you a lot as well if he's fit and ready and.
Positive, Matt. Georgie Fungbo, it's refreshing to see.
He's all right, isn't he?
Yeah, he's doing what he said in his intro video. I wanted to kind of, exciting the fans, get bum off seat, and that brilliant little run that early on when it just, kind of hit the keeper, but maybe he should have squared it, mind you. Wagon had probably blazed over, but
the Turton injury killed Hungbo really, because Ollie Turton was backing him up down that side, and Matty Pearson played more like a right-sided centre back, didn't he, rather than a right back, and Hungbo was all of a sudden doubled up on, wasn't he? But the left back and James McLean came back and they doubled up on him. And that kind of took him out of the game. And Matty Pearson couldn't get up and offer the support like Turton was doing. So that kind of took him out, which was a shame. And maybe maybe you have to say, maybe we should have had Matt Loughton on the bench if we knew Turton's not 100%. But there's a lot of things after the event, isn't there? But yeah, Wigan 1, Huddersfield 0. Absolutely nothing happened apart from that corner, and they scored. The 2 penalties, I mean, Knockout's made a lot of one of them, hasn't he, where he's gone down. I don't really think that's a penalty.
I think the thing is, Matt, because people.
And the handball probably was, but again.
Didn't they have a shout? They had a shout as well in the handball.
Ruffles, wasn't he? But I thought Ruffles, from the thing I saw, Ruffles' arm was in a natural sort of position-ish. But maybe you call it 1-1. But even then, you can't just rely on that. You've got to actually, you've got to be positive, haven't you? And you've got to go for it. And we just did not go for it, and it's disappointing. And we've now got to go for it against Stoke, because on the horizon after Stoke and Birmingham, you're starting to get Burnley away from home. You've got Sheffield United, Middlesbrough, and all sorts of West Brom, Norwich, all coming up. And if you play like that against Wigan, you are not going to play well enough to win. Get points against the rest. It's just not.
I think that's a dynamic that Kosi was talking about earlier. It's like a mate called me before. He's a Burnley fan, so he's complete polar opposites at the moment. You guys being a football fan. He's like, "But you're only 1 point away That's like, but I think most of the Town fans almost feel like we've almost ignored that fact just because
We
of
were out of it. We were out of the bottom three, weren't we?
Yeah, how poor we've been. I blame Posi. Yeah, Posi actually put that in our group, didn't he? So it's he put a picture.
It's his fault.
Table, so it's his fault. But yeah, I think that's the thing. It's we're on 1 point away, and I mean, strange things have happened because we've got points out of Preston, we've got points out of QPR. Probably didn't expect to get either of those. We've dropped points against Blackpool, Wigan, but I think this is where we see we're going to pick up points. I think we're only caught adrift because Cardiff have had 4 straight defeats. So
they haven't won in 11, have they?
Just do worse than we have. So I think whoever finishes 21st, it's a case of it's not really a celebration. Obviously, it'll be a celebration, but it really is like
you've got 4 shit teams down there, haven't you?
You probably should be relegating 4 teams this season. Yeah, it's that bad, isn't it? So
5.
I'm looking at those.
Yeah.
Rotherham are kind of sneaking out a bit, aren't they? They got a decent
they've got points out of difficult games, which worries me as well. They've got the points out of the Watford.
You couldn't see us getting a 0-0 against Sheffield United, could you? At the moment.
Could you get us getting 4 against Blackburn? I think the thing is for me, Johnny, it's just like looking over all individuals. God, it sounds so depressing because, like you said, it is the same as me. I get other people saying to me, "Oh yeah, you're only a point off it," but I look at like the team, the players, where's this mega improvement going to come from individuals and stuff? I get what you're saying that maybe underperformance, but I just don't see, like you go through his 11 yesterday and who was his best player? He's kind of a loanee from a young guy from Watford, a loanee who they don't want. It's embarrassing. And it's like, I want to cling on to something, and it's just a table that I'm clinging on to because everything else, your eyes, Jack Radoni, just seems a bedding in year for me. He's not doing anything. You don't think he's ever going to come good with anything, Johnny, or he'll kill a pass or the rocket from the edge of the box and stuff. Individuals as forward line's embarrassing. It's like, you knew it were going to be Rhodes coming on yesterday. And Wagon, I just thought, where's it got to when I was thinking out of Blackpool on Tuesday after the numerous jinx I get, but how's it got to this that Martin Wagon, who's like surplus to requirements at Coventry, like barely got any games later on there, and he's leading our line, and we were like 90 minutes off Wembley going up.
I don't really get Wagon, to be fair. I don't really, again, open to be correct. I wasn't at the Wigan game, but I'd still rather play. Now. I'd still rather play Rhodes or Chuck. I think Rhodes gets. I mean, I know he did a few back-to-back 90s, didn't he? Whether that's taking it out of him, but I just think his link-up play is better. And I still think if you got him shooting in a box, I'd rather it be going to Jordan Rhodes in our squad than anyone else. I've not seen anything from Wagon, really. I know he's scored, so fair enough. There is that, but personally, I don't think he brings a lot to that forward line. I think at least with the Rhodes, we get the ball into him. He will retain it to a certain extent, and he will play it out as well. He's not too bad at that. So personally, I think Wagon's not the way to go. But Forth preferred him. I was surprised really to see him start. So I'm not sure if it's a knock or something else. But yeah, I didn't
think he did too bad for the first sort of 45, 50 minutes. To be honest, Wagon. I thought if he played it into his feet, his layups were actually all right. It's when you punted it higher than sort of waist height, he lost every duel, didn't he? I thought when it was played into his feet, I thought some of his link play was quite nice. But the problem was when he laid it off to somebody, there was no one running beyond and past, and that's where Radoni needs to.
It's that third pass, isn't it?
Yeah, that's where Radoni needs to. Ungbo.
That once removed, and we've not done that, and that's what again
goes back to the lack of bravery, doesn't it? Really, but
yeah.
The punting of the ball is just ridiculous. Like, I don't know where this all of a sudden come from. Where started with Healy and
lack of movement. The game a week before. Lack of movement.
Yeah.
It's just lack of movement.
Talk to us about Thomas Vassilic, because obviously the video the club put out and
there's got to be some self-awareness there, hasn't there? Because you're posting a video and Vassilic looks like he's walking like my mum. You know what I mean? Who's just fallen over and after playing golf or something.
So it makes Boovy look like he just had a double knee up, doesn't it? Looks like Boovy in his 20s.
It's like really walking, and there's people going, and there's people like me going, he's failed 2 medicals this January. It's a risk signing him, and then you're posting him walking like that, and all the way through the game, he's moving his groin, he's struggling, and then he goes down, and he's probably going to be out now for 2 to 4 weeks. And everybody was saying, "What the hell did we bring Jordan Smith in for?" That's why we brought Jordan Smith in, because Vasilic's obviously not fit. But he looks,
Matt?
He looks so badly out of shape as well. Not in terms of being fat, but just in terms of movement and how
mobility
sluggish. Yeah, he looks so sluggish.
You know what? obviously I watch the league a lot, and this guy was sensational. And I get obviously we're never going to be that kind of severe keeper that were 3 seasons ago when they won the Europa League with him. But I would tell everyone how good he was. It's incredible.
I mean, his
it's
communication's probably still good. You don't lose that, do you? That probably
no, but
that's something you can't really measure. But
when you look at him now, you're just thinking, what is this guy? And I get, I suppose, a Czech Republic number 1, and then you can sign him for bottom 3 team in the championship. You've got to be some kind of cynical. It's like when you sometimes win a competition in it, and you're thinking, is it check the swap? Is that really happened and stuff? But yeah, so yesterday, when it happened, it was just like poor. But I just thought it summed it up perfectly, Matt. Yesterday when we had, as
that injury seemed to galvanise them as well. This sense blood, didn't they, at that point?
Well, they go back with a Turton injury again. Maybe again I'm playing amateur psychologist, but the guy, like, it's just like people trying to like walk him off the pitch. He's like, what the fuck? The stretcher's there, get on it. It's just like
ACLs are a bit weird, aren't they? My missus did an ACL and she could walk after it was done. It's not kind of like one of those where it's the sort of bending and things, but yeah, it looks like an ACL, doesn't it? The way it sort of it almost snaps. You see it on it's like his studs get slightly caught and his knee just makes that funny motion. It looks like an ACL or MCL.
But man, just looking at a table here, like we mentioned there, Rotherham, Cardiff, Huddersfield, Wigan, they've only won 7 games. Blackpool 6. It's like, obviously they've got a few more draws Rotherham, but can you believe that we've still got a chance to get out of it? Because I can't. It is quite incredible, really.
Usually teams at the bottom are crap, and that's what happens in football, isn't it?
No, it's just like it baffles me, mate. It feels like we should be dead, but you know what? We've got this chance, and I just don't feel in my heart. I hope I'm wrong and stuff, and we have a miracle run, but I just don't think we've got the personnel for it. I don't think we ain't got the coach, and
I don't think we've got the. I want us to have the cojones for it, but I just, from what I see, I'm not sure we have. All the late goals. The late goals isn't down to fitness; it's down to mentality again. And
that's why he's that last roll of dice, isn't it? I think if someone we can get someone in. I mean, who probably not enough time to even go down that road, but if we can get someone who can just take a little bit of weight off, a little bit of concentration, just a bit of morale. I don't know. There is potential to do something, but like you say, it's right now. It's not going to change, and you need that step change to make a difference. And who you get in to do that, I don't know if there's anyone even on the horizon to do that equally.
Speaking of which, Neil Warnock has shot up in. It doesn't take much, Kosi, as you know, it doesn't take much, does it, in a manager market for the odds to get really, really short. And usually people go, oh, they've taken the odds off, something's happening, and they usually take it off overnight, don't they, and things like that.
Matt, the list someone showed me today, obviously I don't gamble, but like someone showed me a list today and it was a laughable list, mate, because no one has a clue. And I suppose with Matt Fotherham coming last time, who would know, I don't think he was anywhere near on the list. So
no, it was only on the day before. But Neil Warnock shot up, and there's people pretending they know things. I don't think they do, but
I just think
would he be it? The last waltz?
Think the Cardiff thing's the issue, Matt. I honestly don't think he would come and maybe relegate Cardiff and lose his legacy there and stuff. I think that's got a big. He could be wrong. He might.
Well, that's their problem, isn't it? It's up to Cardiff. They could still finish 15th.
Yeah, maybe, but it's honestly, with Peter Jackson, someone could have just. Does it just need? I mean, trouble is, Chico's got the passion and blah blah blah. But what does it mean, Matt? Because I got asked that again by Captain Annon yesterday. Who would you want? But it's so complicated, isn't it? Because it's like, we need someone to keep us up. Do you want a long-term thing? Just someone to...
It's delicate.
I wouldn't have a clue. If I were Dave Baldwin, mate, I wouldn't have a clue where to go on this. I really wouldn't.
I mean, Chris Wilder's probably the one on the list that stands out to me, but from what I've heard, I don't.
There's
think
no way he'll take
he's going to come. Yeah, he's not going to come.
Comes and takes us down on his League One,
not in this situation.
Then we don't do out again in League One. Say we're like 12, he'll get sacked. That's just Wilder done, mate.
He went quite short, didn't he? But I think Blackpool, Wigan, he's gone back out again. It's hard, isn't it? Because we don't really know, and I mean, people probably got their opinions. I'm interested to see what people think.
Johnny, rather than a name, what would you kind of? Are you thinking 2 different people? One to keep us up, one not? Or you can't write off, can you? Because we're right.
No, I wouldn't make an appointment. based on next season now. Because if it's going to be League One, there's no point giving them these games because I'll probably do them in. And if we are League One, it needs a bit of a complete fresh start. But in regards to what I think you can't have some. It's like I say, it's really delicate right now. The morale in that squad's going to be absolutely on the floor. I think you get someone who's a great tactician to come in. Are the players going to be receptive to it? Are they going to be in the mindset to take on that right now? Maybe not. Maybe not. So my gut feeling, I think you've got to go with someone who's going to just is a motivator in the right way, not a shouter, but someone's going to try and pick them up, get behind them, make it a happy place, make it a happy place for the fans as much as they can do. Like I say, even if this is the last 16 games, if you brought in, do you know what I mean, if it was like a Warnock, at least it might be a bit nicer, a bit happier, a little bit of lightness around the area. Maybe same for the players. So for me, I think you've got to go down the road. Someone who's going to just not take the seriousness out of it, but someone's going to try and just lift the mood, lift
the edge
morale.
off.
And I think that
Players
will
should be
help
rocking,
more.
wouldn't it? Yeah.
More than someone coming in who's probably a better manager, in all honesty, and better manager for the future. But I don't know how receptive the players are to a third manager and third thought process. They've not got time to instill things, and you tend to just start a bit like Nathan Johnson. You tend to start firefighting. You can't implement what you want. So I think it's got to be someone who's got the ability to boost them, take a bit of the edge off, make training around a bit funner. Do you know what I mean? And I think even if it doesn't work, it would be a happier place than it would be under. Do you know what I mean? As it has been for the 30 games we've had so far.
It's only one man you're describing there, isn't it, Johnny? And that's
if you read between the lines.
The thing is, the next Bristol City have hit a bit of format, but the next 3 home games, Birmingham, Coventry, Bristol, isn't it?
Win all 3. Can win all 3. And we'll probably have to win all 3.
Excuse me. We could do, definitely, but it's surely Dave
Can win all
Baldwin's
3,
got
but like I said, the players have got to start showing something. And I think when you look at that list, Wilder's my preference, but he's not going to come. And I don't think Warner could come either because I think he's retired, but his tour doesn't start again until May 27th, so he's got a bit of a time, hasn't he? I saw it posted.
I'm excited.
You know, and he'd bring, what would he bring with him? He'd bring possibly Ronnie Jepson, an ex-player in Ronnie Jepson and Kevin Blackwell. They know what it's about, don't they? Warner could probably be up once or twice a week, and Jeppo and Blackwell will be running things, won't they?
Don't you think it'd be tempting though, Matt, for him? One last hurrah for Warnock. He's nothing to lose. If we went down, people would be like,
well, this is it really. He's his tour picks up again in May. He'll be gone whatever come May.
Matt,
so it doesn't really matter about next
question,
season.
Mate. Would the club have the balls to go to him and ask to come?
Yeah, I think they would actually. I do think so. I think I'm going to come to something in a minute because there's been an interview with Kenny Miller, which is a bit of a firecracker. I'll read you some excerpts that he's been on BBC Scotland today about his time at Huddersfield, and he absolutely dives in 2-footed onto the bald man, not Mr. Kosmala, but Dave Baldwin. So,
read it out, Matt. I haven't seen it.
He does dive in, and it's been pretty much copied for me by someone who listened to it. So if there's one or two inaccuracies, I do apologise. But do you want to move on to that now?
Yeah,
Kenny Miller. So
was
Kenny Miller,
for you because you didn't get the Scottish.
Well, he listened to it. He listened to it. No. Oh, my wife's Scottish. I can't get over it. But Kenny Miller was on BBC Radio Scotland re the Huddersfield sacking, and it's fair to say he's not enamoured by Dave Baldwin. And he says Dave Baldwin, a guy who allowed Burnley to be sold in a leveraged debt deal to go down with a whimper, thinks he's a football expert, and he's made himself director of football and sidelined the guy, Lee Bromby, who's in a role to try and break him and is in charge of sale of the club, with a previous owner trying to outmaneuver him despite him causing financial issues in the first place. It wasn't a good place to be working. We thought we could turn it around with players like the way that we work, but we couldn't get the results. Some younger players over the time would have become major assets, but they need to listen, learn, ignore the noise, because that can ruin careers. So yeah, he's gone in a bit on Dave Baldwin there about him and his time at Baldwin, and he's pretty much said there that with what I've been saying, that Lee Bromby's pretty much been sidelined, and everybody's calling for Lee Bromby's head at the minute, thinking it'll improve things. It won't improve anything. Dave Baldwin is the guy behind the January work in the transfer market. Most of it is poor, if I'm honest. and Kenny Miller's gone in on him. So it's not really what you need, is it, in this situation? You don't really need that, but you kind of also appreciate it in a little bit that someone's actually gone, instead of going out and going, oh yeah, it was all right, Huddersfield, just didn't work out. He's actually gone and said, you know what, screw the NDAs, I'm going to tell you the truth. And I kind of appreciate that from Kenny Miller.
Good to get some insight, isn't it? That's one thing that's been lacking.
Yeah, and he's and he's I think the thing there as well is he mentions Dean Hoyle in a roundabout way and about the sale, and then he said the previous owner, who previous owners obviously Phil, I imagine, who's trying to outmaneuver him despite causing financial issues in the first place. So yeah, he's proper gone in there, hasn't he? So interesting. So I might try and dig that out at some point and try and post it somewhere, because obviously it sounds like a decent one. And I might have paraphrased some of that because of the way I've got it. But yeah, no Kenny Miller anymore, and he's probably not welcome back if you take that from there. But any thoughts on that?
Well, I think obviously he's been in the game long enough, Kenny Miller, but when he came and he knew that it could be a short-term thing, but if he didn't stay, but I think he thought he'd probably get the season, Matt, and obviously he's gone in on Dave Baldwin, and the pressure's on Dave Baldwin now, mate, to deliver, because
he's got a decision to make, seeing as Kenny Miller says he's sidelined Lee, so
basically there, which, you know what, obviously people have turned on Lee now, and everyone wants a scapegoat, but Kenny Miller's just said it there, really. That is,
yeah, I mean, Town fans are rightly pissed off at the minute, and there's a lot of people just want a head on a spike, don't they, to throw rotten tomatoes at, and Lee's the easiest target because of what he said when Fotheringham came in that, judge me on this appointment, and the appointment didn't go great, so Lee's been judged, and I understand that from fans. People talk about the transfers as well, don't they? But Lee Bromby's overseeing a wage budget that's dropped from 26 million to 8 million in a couple of windows, and it went back up again.
I thought the statement was rude, Matt. I thought the statement was rude from the club, mate. Announcing the departure, I thought it was a shit statement and rude.
I think not to even thanking. There's always a line like, we like to put on record our thanks for etc.
Yeah, just do that. The guys give.
I believe the man who usually writes the statements wasn't in the building, so I'm not sure who wrote that for the website.
Yeah, but
I mean, you can copy and paste, can't you? You can copy and paste from someone else's. They all say a thank you.
Yeah, it was pretty curt, wasn't it?
Yeah. Just going thoughts on that Kenny Miller piece. I think Stephen Chicken the last couple of days wrote a great article on Bromby off the back of the chants from the Wigan game, and I know we've spoken quite a bit on previous podcasts about Bromby, what he can be held account for, what he probably can't be held account for, and then what things limitations got to work in. So I won't necessarily repeat that, but I think it is interesting to see that. I think Baldwin seems to have gone somewhat under the radar. A, in his appointment, and B is control of the club, because that is what it is now. He does have control of the club in all intents and purposes. So I'm not saying we set our sights on him, but equally, I think it's interesting to see how the operations behind the scenes might well be. It's one man's word, but he's probably got no interest in saying anything that isn't necessarily true. I'm sure Huddersfield Town will have their own opinions on that as well. But yeah, I think, like you say, understandably, Bromby's got his critics based on potentially Schofield. I don't know. Dean seemed to be quite keen on that as well. Certainly Fotheringham.
Distanced himself after, didn't he?
Yeah. But like you say, how long has he been out with a decision-making role to a certain extent and put to one side? So, yeah, but equally, I guess it's one of them where it's a culture today, and I'm not guilty of it either, that you almost want someone to blame. You want someone to lose their job or get the sack, and in a certain way it sometimes makes you feel better. But I think it's just recognising that there are other things in play at the moment. It's a difficult place to work for many people because of the way the club's being run. And if it's not your coin, you've got certain limitations to how you can spend it. And I think it's just, it's an interesting addition to people's viewpoints, bit of tidbits we get from the press, etc. So yeah, it's quite interesting to hear and speak quite honestly about it, really.
I'll tell you what I was thinking earlier on, Matt, though. It's like, I think the Championship now is it's almost like, it's not Premier League 2, but it's bigger than a lot of first tier leagues in Europe, and you've got to be switched on as a club at the top, at all the level. And I just think we've been caught short in everything as well. And it's like you've got to treat this division, this bear pit division, a ruthless division, with the respect it deserves. Otherwise, you're going to pay the price. And if we manage to scrape up, it'll be a fantastic achievement. But you know what? Of course, we want Huddersfield Town to stay up, but you can't feel. But we totally deserve to go down though, with his choices of management, with his choices of signings, and I get these. Probably it's all about the money for a lot of it. But it's just like it just feels like we're so complacent, and it's almost like we deserve league football, the Championship, such a strong division. And I get we all wanted to be back in the Premier League 12 months ago. Well, most of us did, some didn't, but it's just like the division, we've got to treat it with respect. Sometimes I wonder if the club wants to be in League One. It's nice and comfy, and you don't have to bother opening your ticket office as much now, or your souvenirs. You don't have to get, people can have an easier life at the club if we go down. But, how much do we want to stay up? Because as efforts on and off the pitch, it's just like, we don't deserve to be in this division, man. And we're doing his best to get out of it.
And so this week, guys, unfortunately, there's no Fozzie Bingo anymore. So we can't, that feature's died a death after 1 week, which is a real shame. But I was thinking, during the week, I had some bad news during the week. I lost my wedding ring, and I lost it on the way to my little boy's school. I think I pulled my phone out of my pocket. No, not in Blackpool. I pulled the phone out of my pocket, and I think the ring slipped off and went on the ground somewhere. And fortunately, it seems to have gone. But I was going to school to a meeting in the assembly room about phonemes and grammemes. Something that you'll get to, I'm sure, Jonny, before too long. And Kosi, you might have to cast your mind way back with this. And I thought, you know what? Why don't we try some of this with...
Hey! What time is it? It's Chicho time.
It's Chicho. Chicho. Right, Mr. Kosmala, what can you see?
It's like going to Specsavers, isn't it? 2 from the CH. Don't put
right,
that
so
on. That's about 2.
It's about 150 or something, isn't it? Right, so the whole point of phonemes and grammemes is that when you pronounce these words, like if you like cat, when you for a 3-4-year-old, when you're saying cat, k-at, you don't say k, because kids actually start going k-at, so and pronouncing it wrong. So you just go k. So they actually do it. So Kosi, what is that?
What? What's what?
So on my screen now, what is it when you put those 2 words together?
What, CH in it?
Yeah, but phoneme, what is it? How do you pronounce that? Those 2 words together.
Ch in it.
Ch. Yep. And then these.
Chico in it. Yeah, Nadal. Nadal.
And then this one again.
Cheech. Ooh.
And put them all together and you get... fucking Chicho, Kosi.
Chicho, man. Oh, man. Yeah.
There we go.
I think that could be one on the go.
That'll be, I think that'll be a 1 week...
I'll tell you one thing that I want to say, Matt. I didn't go to Wigan State, but I went to Blackpool, and the numbers of the fans, honestly, Matt, I know we criticise the fans and sometimes getting on the backs, but when you look around the pubs of Blackpool and you look around in that stand on Tuesday night, and the people are going through the pain and that are paying good money, taking time off work and going to Blackpool probably the second time. It just makes me think we've got honestly, there's just some amazing people that support Huddersfield Town, and
best fans in the league, Fod said.
Yeah, honestly, just amazing. And a couple of thousand there yesterday. Stoke on Wednesday, they'll be there again and stuff. And it doesn't obviously guarantee promotion and what have you, even though Leeds fans might agree. But we have got some bloody brilliant fans and stuff like that as well. And it just breaks your heart, doesn't it, that the club, I don't know, I just like the detachment between the club and the fans is just like a bigger point than I've ever known, So it's that there's such a repair job. The dream for me, I was saying to someone at work today, right? We stay up by the skin of his teeth with a playing squad that I can't associate, but we don't matter. We stay up, new owners comes in, fresh energy, punch a new coach we can all get behind, and we can just go again in the championship next season. But it just feels we're so far off that in a lot of ways, but in a way we're not totally down and dead. It's cruel, isn't it? Sport. It's sometimes so near for you can taste it, but just can we do it? And it's so big, isn't it? It could be such a good. We could go again next year, fresh energy, new owners, and I look at this Wrexham story with a bit of envy, to be honest. I watched that Chesterfield Notts County yesterday, Matt, and Notts County, bloody hell, they've had some barren years, but the backing of that away, and they were on like a bit of a journey. They're getting behind the team. Chesterfield, they've had some. I'm just thinking we just need that again, don't we? That energy, that the reason for being why we go to watch as team, and it's just being lost. And I think it's not even like winning games. It's just feeling that the club belongs to us again because it's being lost. It's so sad, really. And when you think of them scenes when Toffolo were cheered off John Russell, the flares, etc. I know we got into trouble for it, but that's what it can be when it's like fighting. It just breaks your heart, doesn't it, to see where we are now, mate?
Yeah, I mean, not even talking about just us, but I think Huddersfield fans in general have deserved a lot better than what they've got since the relegation from the Premier League. I think on and off the field, it's not really been the great, apart from that one outlier of a season, which is increasingly looking like a bit of a fluke, isn't it?
It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah. But I think that's all we've got time for this week, isn't it? I don't think it's been a particularly happy podcast, and you wouldn't expect it to be a happy podcast after failing to beat both teams who were bottom and second bottom this week. It's not good enough. The players are going to have to take a collective responsibility and try and force this and get Huddersfield further up the league. Look, if the players can do this, I won't go as far as saying you'll be heroes, but because 21st in the Championship is not worthy of hero worship, really. But I think people like myself, Jonny and Kosi will think a lot more of you than if you get relegated. So, fans have been great. They're doing their bit. We just need the players to do theirs now. So crack on, lads, and hopefully a good week to come. Cheers, everyone.
There's a team that is dear to its followers. The colours are bright blue and white. They're a team of renown, and they're the pride of the town. And the game of football is their delight. And all the while upon the field of play, thousands loudly cheer them on the way. Often you can hear them say, who can beat the town today? And then the bells will ring so merrily, and every goal shall be a memory. So town, play up and bring that cup back to Huddersfield. So town, play up and bring the cup back to Huddersfield.